Out here it gets rough. In the heart of the valley is where you find us. T Cali, reppin' the Central Valley, home to every county, every city around me. Central California, that's where I stay. Got my nickel 90 at FTK. Central California, that's where I stay. Got my nickel 90 at FTK. Yo, Central California, that's where I stay. Got my nickel 90 at FTK. Central Cali, where killers are born ruthless.
We're back at Fresno Forward, and we've got Steve Hempfling in the studio. He's the founder and director of Free Enterprise Society, and it's a Fresno-based organization that teaches people about income tax. You do a lot of talks to different organizations and groups. They hire you to come out and you give a good speech for everyone. Let them know what's going on.
We do quite a few meetings around the country and in California. But really, to us, it's not even a tax issue. It's a constitutional one. This is a pocket constitution, which is, our most important item that we use.
Right.
We feel the income tax is unconstitutional, and I can, show you a little bit about it.
Right. Yeah. Your main message is that the income tax is voluntary, and we don't have to pay it. So obviously, we were interested in that, and it's like the first question that people ask. They say, "Oh, aren't you going to go to prison if you don't pay your taxes?" That's not true, apparently. I mean, you're here.
Income tax, the filing of income tax, we cannot find a requirement for filing of income tax returns. I know that sounds silly, but we can even search electronically and we just can't find it. Now, we've also gone to Congress, we've gone to the courts and asked the same question. We've actually sued the federal government for an answer to the question, and their answer to us is they throw out the lawsuit. They won't answer us.
Wow.
Now, to me, that's an answer.
Yeah, well, right. Case dismissed. Can you tell us about the origin of the federal income tax? Where did it come from? I think it was 1913, wasn't it?
Right. Well, the original income tax was put in 1894.
Okay.
And it was thrown out in 1896 in the Supreme Court Pollock decision, where it's for being unconstitutional.
So they had an income tax, and then the Supreme Court threw it out.
Threw it out for similar reasons that I'm going to talk about today.
Wow. But
then in 1913, they brought it back again, and that was a mandatory tax in 1894. They brought it back in 1913, and the only difference was that they didn't make it required. Now, I know that sounds silly, but when I first heard this, I thought the guy was a little crazy that I talked to, but I called the IRS up. This was 1979. I called the IRS, talked to an agent there, and I don't recommend this to the viewers, but this is what I did. I called him up and said, "Is the income tax voluntary?" Because I thought they'd set me straight. And the agent said, "Yes, sir, it is." And that surprised me, so I thought for a moment and said, well, good. I said, I don't want to volunteer anymore. And then the agent said something interesting to me. The agent said, "But, sir, you have to volunteer."
They call that voluntold, don't they? It's like a military thing. When they tell you to do something, you're voluntold, and there you go.
Yeah. But here's the thing. In the Constitution, it would violate certain principles. It would violate the Fifth Amendment not to testify against yourself, because when you sign any form, like a tax return, under penalty of perjury, that can be used against you in a court of law. And you can't be required to do that. It has to be voluntary. And the Fourth Amendment says you have the right to be private in your papers. Now, they're not talking about newspapers or something. They've got to be talking about your financial records, your business records, family records. You have a right to privacy in those records. Do you waive that when you file income tax returns? Well, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you have to be an open book to government, but they don't tell you anything anymore about you.
Right.
They lie to you every day, but if you lie to them, that's a felony. In fact, a lot of people are surprised. Tax evasion has nothing to do with the tax. Tax evasion is lying to the government. That's all it is. You're under penalty of perjury, you lied to the government. That's tax evasion.
Okay.
That's how they got Al Capone. The IRS got their reputation through Al Capone. And he didn't file. The first year he filed, they got him because he had to lie.
Well, I guess that's how you scare everybody. You throw Al Capone away, I guess you're good to go after that.
Yeah.
Where does all the money go from federal income taxes? Where does it end up going? What is it paying for?
Well, if you look at the back of the checks when you get them back, they'll say they're deposited to the Federal Reserve Bank.
The Federal Reserve.
Because we borrow the money. That's where we get the money, but we have to pay that back with interest.
Right, because the Federal Reserve is a private
institution. It's a private institution. A lot of people are not aware of that. They
Right.
don't even make any bones about it any longer.
Right.
It's just as private as the Federal Express is, and a lot of people don't realize that. But the income tax, when you talk about the voluntariness, we have a case here which is kind of interesting. It was a Supreme Court case, Florida versus United States, talking about the income tax. It says our tax system is based upon voluntary assessment and payment, not upon distraint. Distraint means force. That's what most people, associate the IRS with. And if you stand up to them, we've won. We have in our organization, we also have a legal defense fund. We defend people because we don't think failing to file is a crime. When you think about it, and you just have to start saying, well, failure to file. If you commit a crime, you have to do something. You go out and hurt somebody, or you take something, or you vandalize something. But here, you're accused of not doing something. Now, that's
inaction.
It's ridiculous when you start to think about it. You're accused of doing nothing, and they try to put you in jail for it. I mean, not just nothing, but nothing on April 15th. It's ridiculous. Those laws like that don't belong in a free country. Those are laws you'll find compulsive laws in communist and socialist countries. In a free country, all the laws are here to protect us. And the government's job is to protect our right on our property, not take it.
When I asked you where tax money goes, you answered that it goes to the Federal Reserve, which is a private institution. But can you expound on that a little bit? I mean, from what I understand, our income taxes only go to pay down interest on our debt. Is that true?
Well, it may be because the amount of interest that we have right now on the debt is more than we're taking in on the income tax. But what people might also be surprised at, a lot of people, we talk about getting rid of the income tax, and that's our goal, and I think we're going to accomplish that very soon. I think the income tax has one foot in the grave, but the thing is, the income tax only is 42% of our money that the federal government collects.
Okay.
And the federal government is doing far more than that in excess of its constitutional authority. If we were only following Article 1, Section 8 here, where it gives you 17 powers the federal government has in this Constitution, we would only need about 10 or 15, maybe 20% of the money we're collecting, because all the rest of it is unconstitutional expenditures. So we could get along famously without the income tax. We would have more money, more people would have jobs. Some of those IRS agents might be coming around selling us vacuum cleaners at the door or something, but they'll have a job because there'll be plenty of jobs, millions of them in the private sector, once we get the government to slow down on the theft of the taxation.
Do you have any good IRS jokes for us off the top of your head? Just one, maybe?
Well, there's one IRS agent who he kind of looked like our governor, former Governor Schwarzenegger, really big guy. It's very stressful being an IRS agent,
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you're taking people's property and everything all the time, and it's very stressful. So this one guy said, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go out and ride my horse this weekend. And so he goes out and lays his money down, rents a horse, and he's riding along. And then disaster strikes. The horse bucks, and he falls off the horse, and his foot's stuck in the stirrup. He's being drugged, galloping all around, and there's nobody around, and his life starts to pass before his eyes. It's just a matter of time before his head gets crushed by the hooves. And then a grocery boy carryout, amazing thing happened. A grocery carryout boy noticed his dilemma, ran over and unplugged the horsey.
All right. That's pretty good. We have a comedian now. You may have another career opportunity there. All right, Steve Hempfling. He's the founder and director of the Free Enterprise Society. You can find him at freeenterprisesociety.com.
Yeah, we have a free information package they can download there, or we can even send you a actual printed copy. I have all kinds of books and articles about things we're involved with, because we've won 25 cases. We kept a lot of people out of jail, saved a lot of property, millions of dollars worth of property, because the IRS just doesn't have any real claim to it under law. So we can beat them in court. It's just knowing how to do it.
Great. Thank you, Steve. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you again. That's it for us here at Fresno Forward. We'll be back next week, and I'll see you in the Forward.